Allegations of hazing, sexual assault, and racism involving a North Shore High School hockey team. And a young man coming forward says town leaders are trying to erase any trace of it, withholding what really happened from parents and residents. Hello, everybody. Maria Stefanos.
And I'm Ed Harding. And tonight, 5 Investigates has a window into the controversy through the eyes of someone who says he saw it all firsthand. Our Karen Edison joins us right now with those details. And we do want to warn you, they are disturbing. Karen?
And these are the reports obtained by 5 Investigates, released with most of the substance of the allegations and the findings of police and school officials blacked out. Now, the hockey player you're about to hear from was interviewed for all of these investigations and says he's still waiting for accountability. And when you first walked in and saw this going on, what went through your mind?
I was very scared. Very uncomfortable, and I wanted to leave very quickly.
You're hearing from a hockey player from Danvers. He sat down with 5 Investigates under the condition that we would not identify him, but placed no limits on what he would reveal about what happened in the Danvers High School hockey locker room.
Were you ever assaulted?
Yes.
What happened?
Which day of the week?
He's talking about rituals he says took place inside the hockey team's locker room. Rituals that were explicitly homophobic, starkly racist, sometimes violent, and always featured abuse of young players by upperclassmen. He says Tuesday was Gay Tuesday, when the lights were turned off in the locker room.
So everyone had their clothes off?
Yes.
And what was your reaction to being in there?
Terrified, very much so. Not what I expected when I signed up to play for the team.
Was there actually touching of genitals?
Yes, there was.
Intentionally?
I mean, as intentional as can happen with the lights off.
Why was it called Gay Tuesday?
The main concept is they were mocking gay people.
And then there were what the team called Hard R Fridays. Players who refused to say the N-word with a hard R were physically beaten, sometimes with a red sex toy.
On Friday, I would refuse to say it and get held down by multiple of my friends and beaten. And then I'd walk around with shame, being heckled for the rest of the night, skating around with the outline of a penis on my face. There were moments where I saw other people get beat and did not move. I didn't do anything, I didn't help them, because I was so scared of what it would be like for it to happen to me again.
He says the culture of bullying transformed his teammates, who realized if they followed the orders, the beating would stop. Once, he says, an assistant coach walked in on one of the team's rituals.
He turned the lights on, saw everyone naked. One of the captains in the middle of the room. He asked him, "What's going on?" And the player said, "Coach, it's Gay Tuesday." And coach says, "I don't want to know." And he turns the lights back off and he leaves, closes the door.
He was interviewed by school and police officials, as well as an independent investigator hired by the town. Statements that were witnessed by other adults. 3 separate investigations into hazing, bullying, homophobia, and racism, almost entirely blacked out and therefore unreadable and useless to the public.
It's really astonishing that they felt that the best option was to just try to cover it up and it'll go away, but it won't go away.
According to an unredacted portion of the police report, police found no evidence of criminal misconduct. The head hockey coach, who was also the school resource police officer, Steve Baldessari, was placed on leave in January of 2021, then reinstated in February. He later resigned in July. He and the assistant coaches denied any knowledge of misconduct to investigators. Baldessari did not return our calls. The independent investigator concluded, quote, there was a culture of bullying and misconduct on the team, but all description of that misconduct was redacted. The Danvers school superintendent says the school department addressed personnel and student discipline and implemented training. But the town still refuses to tell the community the details of the allegations.
I feel like the people who should be accountable are not accountable, and that's not the kids.
This young man doesn't blame the players. He actually says he sees them as victims.
The adults are the people who have been given the power. They're the ones who are paid to monitor this type of thing. Their whole job is make sure that these kids act a certain way, and they really drop the ball.
Now, after his police interview, that player says the same officer returned to his home unannounced and asked if he wanted to file criminal charges. He told him no, since he saw the players as the victims. In the newsroom, Karen Anderson, 5 Investigates.